and I'm the founder of Livzenastrology. And I wanted to pop on here just to give some reflections on what's happening post-eclipse energy that we may all be experiencing. So I just wanted to, sorry, I'm a little distracted. I'm going live here on Instagram. Okay, trying to get to all the platforms. It's really awesome using StreamYard. You can send the messages out simultaneously to your Facebook page, to your YouTube channel, and to your Instagram. So this is a great aspect of technology, is to be able to be to consolidate the energy, which I've got Virgo 10th house, which is very effective to me. So just still learning to use the tools that are being given. This is also very Aries, right? Being willing to do something different, to step out into the unknown and to challenge yourself, to try out new things. So this is my way to try new things, especially since the moon just entered Gemini, right? So Gemini is about communication. It's about everyday travel. It's about brothers and sisters, our neighbors. And so right now, over the next few days, the moon's going to be sextiling. We're having a 60-degree angle with the sun, also with Chiron, with the North Node, with Venus, with Mercury, all in Aries. So the moon is going to be having this nice harmonious conversation with these planets I just mentioned. So one of the things that came through really strong, and I've been paying attention to my social media about what people are talking about, not only their post-eclipse reflections, but also what they're feeling internally. Because right now we've got Chiron in Aries, the North Node in Aries. So Chiron's is our wounds, being able to see our wounds really clearly of the child, of things that we were taught in childhood or indoctrinated, or during that between 0 and 7 years, is when our brain was in this theta state where we were very programmable, right? So we're able to see and witness right now, especially with Mercury retrograde in Aries, all the programs that we downloaded that were bringing us harm, that were actually not supporting life, not supporting our individuated selves, not supporting being that heart of the child, being able to explore freedom, what we enjoy to explore, think about children nowadays and our education system and how that's all transforming. Well, think about your own education system. How did you grow up? What programs did you learn? I'm a Gen Xer, right? So I was considered a latch and key child. So my mom had to work several jobs to support us. So when I came home in the afternoon, I had to let myself in. There was nobody home. I play with my friends, right? This is all part of my childhood that's being up to look at, to go, oh, so I may not always remember the time period between 0 and 7, but I know I was programmed. We all were. That's part of the process, being children in this realm. And this is what's being brought up to be looked at today, especially right now with the moon. Our emotional nature has a need to communicate. Okay, so these are part of the programs, the indoctrinations that we all experienced as children, no matter which generation you're from. We are all having, between the ages of 0 and 7, we're programmed to receive energy, to receive ourselves, to form relationships in certain ways, in certain patterns. And what came through really strong, I've set my program up to receive informations or downloads from media through certain television shows. I always watch my television show with my first eye on. It's no longer my third eye, it's my first eye, and then the poles, or the second eye, second and third. So my first eye is on, again, reprogramming through the language. And I always watch television shows with my first eye on. And yesterday I was guided to watch the first couple of episodes of this show called Rebel Moon, which of course we just came from this eclipse in Aries, right? So, and Uranus in Aquarius would be more of the rebel, which of course is ruled by Pluto right now. But Mars and Pluto they used to be co-ruled by Scorpio, right? So this is the transformer planet. So this is what's playing on in my head as I'm watching these programs, and I'm listening to the dialogue of these characters. And the main character, who's a female, it starts off, they're, you know, a family, they're on this planet of farmers they're farmers. And all of a sudden this warship appears on the horizon. And the story unfolds where this woman, she wasn't always a farmer. She's the main protagonist in this storyline. She used to be a warrior. And so she had been experiencing peace and serenity and being able to unfold these last few years she was in this farming community. But as you unfold with her story, you realize that she was taught from a very young age to be a warrior, to not let love in, to not be vulnerable, because vulnerability was a sign of weakness. So because she was born into warfare, she wasn't allowed to be vulnerable. She didn't even know what that felt like, because again, her indoctrination, her programming, that's a sign of weakness, and that will get you killed. So not saying that a lot of us grew up with that dramatic inner child. It's raining here in Florida right now. The sky gods, you can hear that. I don't know if you can hear that in the background, but as I'm speaking that, right? So this powerful transmission happening right now. But so where were we indoctrinated into warfare? Where were we subliminally taught from the ages of 0 and 7 that this was not a safe world? Did we learn that from our own childhood wounds in the household? Do we learn it at school? A lot of you can remember when it was the duck and cover, right? We were programmed to be scared of nuclear war. So I can remember stories from my family saying that they had to, it's so weird to even think about this, but they had to duck underneath their desks in anticipation of perhaps a nuclear war happening, right? So it's the duck and cover program. And now what's going on with the school systems, with school shootings and things of that nature, right? So even kids are scared to go to school, right? Because there's this element of danger to go to school, that somebody might be mentally imbalanced, which a lot of the times opposing warfare, opposing opposition energy tends to come from that very antagonistic, very pro-death imbalance in the mind, Mercury. So kids now they're programmed to be scared to go to school because there might be a shooter, right? So then there's certain things that they had to learn in case there was a shooting at the school. So again, you can just see generationally where literally our children are being programmed for war. They're being indoctrinated into the war program and being embedded with the program of fear right off the bat. So if you want to check out Rebel Moon, I only got through the first couple of episodes and then I kind of lost interest. I feel like I got the codes that I needed because it was just kind of a standard play about, you know, whatever. And things are moving so quickly, it can only hold my attention span. I get the messages I need and then I get out, right? So this is also me using discernment on what I can program myself with and, you know, receiving the codes and then moving forward. So, but that's what's wanted to be shared, because I'm also seeing dialogue on the social media about these wounds that are coming up for all of us to look at. So one of the wounds that was brought front and center to me, that if you guys can relate, was when you make a mistake or when you don't follow through on something you know you need to do, that you beat yourself up, right? That you just keep mentally berating yourself. I'm not good enough. I'm stupid. I shouldn't have done this. Cancel, clear, delete. I'm not these things, but I'm just using this as an example, and I'm clearing out that program because I know I'm a powerful creator and how we use our words matters. So I'm not using that, I'm just using an example. But these are some of the things to be up and looked at, to be cleansed. Right now, we're going through a deep watering right now. Again, you can probably hear the rain and the thunder and the lightning, and there's a cleansing happening. We need to cleanse through our tears. I was told through my guides, through my inner guidance system, that actually when you cry, to take the tear and to actually put it on your heart, or to just imbibe it a little bit, because the tear is the medicine. It's especially if you were crying and you were healing, that to put it all over your heart space, that there's alchemy in the tears. So that's something that wanted to be shared. I know this is part of us all learning to express ourselves, our Chiron in Aries, our North Node in Aries, to express what we are feeling, even if it doesn't make sense to everybody. It's okay. We still have a point of view. We still get to choose to express ourselves without the judgment, right? Without worrying about judgment from other people, because this is also part of the wounds of Chiron and Aries that need to be looked at, is not feeling safe to be ourselves because of judgment. Because again, we're indoctrinated to only act a certain way, to be a certain way, to do certain things. And so anytime we step out of that program, there's what I call a sentinel being inside of us, which is in our mind, that goes and it's like this inner warrior that stops that behavior because it's new, it's different, and it makes the body uncomfortable. So it's like, wait a minute, you're doing something out of the norm. You're doing something, I think of like the movie Divergence, right? That when you do something different, that the tribe around you, the group think around you is like, wait a minute, you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to be this way. This is what you're expected to be. This is how we're used to you being this way. And so the warfare that's happening right now is happening in the mind, right? It's the war of the mind. It's our own sentinel aspects of self. Mars, this is Aries in Mercury right now. We're having to redo and restructure and rethink these things to go, oh, wait a minute. My own worst enemy is inside my own mind using my own voice. And it's these patternings that were embedded from the ages of 0 and 7 that were subconsciously playing themselves out into my programs that need to be come up because it's being regridded. Those I think of like a computer system. That's what has been hacked, if you will. And that's also the corrupted files that are now being restored, that I feel like this eclipse was an opportunity for restoration energy if you chose to see it that way, right? Because it's a neutral energy. It's just all how you wield it. I think of Pluto and power and nuclear energy. You can either blow up a whole city or you can empower and light up a city. It depends on how you use the power. It's just neutral. So this eclipse energy was very neutral, but it was giving us the opportunity to allow these energies to rise up, to see where these imbalances, where these programs have been playing themselves out in our lives real time, and an opportunity to shift, to change, to alchemize through movement, because Mars is about action. It's about how we move. It's our primordial life force energy. It's the mind, Mercury. It's how we're thinking about things. So even I think of new neural pathways, right? Using the medicine of tapping, saying, even though I didn't know the programs that were tapped that I had imbibed with between the age 0 to 7, I forgive myself. I allow myself to be regridded, restructured, and then just using these points in the cranium, because Aries rules the head, to re-alchemize these old programs. But we need to be able to look at them. We need to be able to look at them objectively, kind of pull back from the periphery. This is also Aquarius and Pluto, as Aquarius can be very detached. So not getting so emotional with it, even though this is a very emotional time for all of us, because it's through the energy of energy and motion that we move these energies. But right now, with our emotional nature in sort of a detached sign, which would be Gemini, it's giving us the opportunity to pull out, to zoom out, if you will, and to see things more from a clear vantage point. I think of like the higher octave of Scorpio, which is the eagle, being able to fly above the fray and to look at things from a very objective point of view, and to see where these imbalances, these warfares, these patterns of not feeling safe, of the indoctrination that vulnerability is equated to death, or to not being safe, right? Because it's not safe to be vulnerable because it'll get you killed, right? So anywhere we felt these aspects within ourselves, within our inner child, that it wasn't safe to love, it wasn't safe to be our authentic selves, because you were going to get feedback. The feedback that was given back to us was more of a punishing or corporal punishment, right? This is very militant Mars energy. And these warfare codes have been generational, guys. This is not just something we're experiencing in this now time moment. This is our fathers, our forefathers. Think of like World War I and II, and all the wars in between that I can't even think of right now, because again, I'm eliminating those programs within my own mind and just saying, okay, what would this world look like without war, without the war codes, without even knowing that war was a thing? Am I able to, through my imagination station, again, this is also, we've got this conjunction with Mars and Saturn that was exact yesterday, but it's still happening today. And Pisces, it's at 14 to 15 degrees now, which is saying, hey, structures, right? Mars, the structure of war can be collapsing or dissolving through Pisces. If we can imagine a new world without war, what does that look like? Well, that means there's no soldiers, right? There's no streams of income for those that work for the war machine. So how's that going to shift? What does that look like? Are we going to be now working more towards farming the land? This is Jupiter in Taurus, also next to Uranus in Taurus, which is coming up exact on 420. So there's new opportunities to work with the land in a new way. Again, this television show, Rebel Moon, it started off with the planet was farmers. They were growers. They had no idea about war, what warfare was, right? So can we imagine a culture, a community without war? This is something that we need to all do the deep dive within us, to go within, to allow these imbalanced thought forms to come up and out of us and to alchemize it and to catch ourselves, to be our own mothers and fathers to our own inner children, that, again, we may not even know how to access this on this realm, but there is an opportunity. We're still in that portal window, especially since we're going to be having this full moon. The next full moon is going to be in Scorpio, which is the alchemist full moon. So we have the ability to alchemize these programs with certain techniques, and there's so much information right now. The Akashic records have made themselves visible through the internet, right? So there's no excuse for us not to have information. You just have to have that filtration system on in your own lane to go, what feels true for you? Because truth in this realm is embedded with the lie. I think of like the spiral DNA, right? We have venomous snakes and we have non-venomous snakes, and snakes is Kundalini. So the Kundalini on this planet has been activated more gritting towards war. I'm looking here, Lauren, having been born in Africa, all I've ever known is war. Yes. Okay. So that right now, thank you, Lauren, for sharing that perspective. That's a lot of us. We don't know what life would be we don't know what life would be like without war. But can we imagine it? Can we do the inner work to go, well, what would life be like without being at war with somebody? What would that even look like? This is part of using that Mercury, that Aries, that new imagination station to feel into what is that possible? And if it is, I need to do the work internally to quit warring with myself. Again, there's the sentinel aspects of self. Astrology talks about there's 12 aspects, 12 houses, 12 archetypes playing themselves out simultaneously within your chart. So this is why I pull from the gnosis of the chart to go, okay, what aspect of war is playing itself out in my birth chart right now? Well, then I look to Mars, right? I look to see where Mars is in my chart. Of course, to me, it's fourth house. It's the house of the home. So having a lot of warfare in my own family. I always say that I come from a tribe of warriors, right? A warrior tribe is predominantly female, and they've all been very strong, fierce, feminine, Aries type energies, which Aries is the asteroid and it's the sister of Mars, which is the war god, right? Who just loves to be at war. She's also the goddess of chaos. And there's a story behind her, how she threw the golden apple at Mount Olympus. First of all, she was pissed off because she wasn't invited to a party, right? Because she's a goddess of discord. All the gods wanted to have a nice flowing party. And so she was like, wait a minute, you guys didn't invite me. What's that about? So she showed up and she threw the golden apple into the middle of the party and said, this golden apple goes to the most beautiful goddess. So that activated all the goddesses' egos, right? They wanted to be the most beautiful. And so this whole war was created, this Trojan War, and Helen and Paris, I think that's his name. Yeah. Anyway, you can go and check out the story about the golden apple and the goddess of chaos. And so Aries is the goddess of chaos right now. And she's also in this configuration she's also part of this. She's at 24 degrees, which is coming up to conjunct Mercury's at 22 degrees, right? So we're having these warlike thoughts within ourselves, especially with the feminine, with either warring with the feminine aspects within our own selves, or warring with the females in our lives, right? The mother, I'm thinking of the mother archetype. Where was your mother angry? And where was she angry of not getting to be herself? And then she had that encoded when she was pregnant with you. So there's even a transmutation code that I've been working with, is going into the womb and regridding, feeling my mom, actually what it would be like for her to feel loved and supported and not in warfare. What does that look like? What does that feel like? Even going back to the womb, right? This is the child. So this is using my imagination station, saying I'm going to reprogram even the chemical structures that were being imbibed in my DNA, being formed in my DNA, by imagining my mom being healthy, happy, loved, complete, having, her and my dad unified in the masculine and feminine, having him support her, having her feel held and loved and supported. And then me being in that womb space with that particular geometry of my DNA, what would it be like for that? So this is an invitation even to do the deep dive. If you want to, this is Scorpio, to go, there's an alchemy that can happen right now, real time, but you've got to use your imagination. You got to use your imagination for what it would be like to imagine a world that is peaceful and with family members that were loved, with a community like Lauren, right? Can you imagine an Africa that has not been in war? What would Africa be like for you if you were all in peace? Can you tap into that timeline through your imagination station and just merge with it as it already is? Because the reality that will show up for you will be based on your vibration and your frequency. So can you harmonize your frequency in a way that that reality timeline actually manifests for you? So these are just opportunities, thoughts, ponderings, ways of navigating these points of consciousness that wanted to come through today, especially when the moon is in Gemini. It's about regridding our mind. Now, some of us have been using psychotropics for that, as well as, creating new neural pathways. Because what I've discovered from working and following the studies of Paul Stamets, who works with psychedelic mushrooms, that anybody that's had systemic depression or anxiety from childhood, that those neural pathways will actually deaden or be almost looks like electrocuted and fried at the ends for systemic depression. And through working with mushroom medicine, even lion's mane, he has a stacking method where he works with B12, niacin, I believe, I don't think lion's mane's in there, but the psychedelic mushrooms, to regrow those neural pathways, right? So there's opportunity right now for us to, through technology, through studying, there's so much knowledge out there. Again, use your filtration system before you follow a teacher or a way shower who's sharing these things. But there's a way to regrid our minds. There's a way to create new neural pathways within the brain, harnessing this energy from the sun, our solar plexus, using certain breathing techniques, using certain mantras, again, using tapping, moving your body in specific ways. I've noticed even in my own yoga practice, I've been very sore and tender the last few days because I can tell that my body, it's almost like I'm restructuring. Even my bones, this is Saturn and Pisces, it's very malleable, but I'm also restructuring. So it's almost like if a bone is broken, for example, and you don't reset it the proper way, it can reform in a painful way. So we're being reformed right now. So you want to make sure that you're on point, that you're structured, that you're doing your Saturn and Pisces, right? You're tuning into your spiritual practices. You're being very diligent on what you imbibe with, the content, the people, the way showers, the teachers. Use that filtration system and know that truth is subjective and it will be embedded with the lie. That's the way it is in this realm. And just to face that, to go, okay, there may be certain aspects of teachers where you really enjoy their content, even myself included. Please use your filtration system. These are just my own individuated experiences that I'm being called to share forth, because this, where this eclipse happened in my progressed chart, is in my third house of communication. So I'm feeling the need to communicate these thoughts, ideas, just to put them out there. If they resonate and they harmonize with you and they help you in any way, then please take it. If not, use that filtration system, just kind of like siphon it out, just discard it. It's like anything else. So this is the time for you to learn to trust yourself, to face those inner wounds, those sentient thoughts that are coming, thought forms that are coming out and up. And you know that if they're benefiting you or not, because how you feel after you think a thought. If you're thinking a thought that pisses you off or angers you, that's okay, because anger is part of this process. Where you felt victimized, where you felt things were unfair, that's okay. Just let all that story rise out, but then alchemize it. Bring it back to self to say, okay, I know these things happen, but can I forgive? Can I forgive the governing bodies? Can I forgive the education system that taught me how to fear war? Can I forgive my parents that didn't know any better? Forgive them for they do not know what they do. They just taught you what they learned. And so can you go back and use the medicine of forgiveness and then harness that energy once it's been alchemized? It's just now neutral energy to go back and create the life and the projection that you would like to see in this now time moment. All we're working with is the now. The past is simply a reflection tool, and the future has not happened. It's going to be based on your vibration. So the now is the most important current to work with. This is your 0-point power energy. And especially if you're harmonized with your mind and your heart, then you pull that out. That's your 0 point. That's your triangulation point to manifest your most highest timeline, most vibrational, harmonious, loving timeline expression. If you call that in, if you bring awareness to, okay, these are my wounds. My medicine is forgiveness. Even if it injures me, even if I still feel it somewhere in my body, I'm going to go move. I'm going to go alchemize. I'm going to drink that fresh water. I'm going to program my water. I'm going to, use some crystals. I've been holding on to this this pink quartz node right now. Emergency alert, tornado warning in this area. Oh, wow. Okay, here we go. Tornado warning. So that to me is signifying the toroidal field. There's a Taurus field happening right now as I'm speaking this into existence. This is what's coming in right now. I'm not experiencing fear because I don't know it's not coming this way. But what is happening is I'm moving the energy and the currents within me to regrid, realchemize, restructure everything right now, real time, through my voice, through my language, through my words, and just staying in center heart, seeing myself, seeing this past clear with grace and ease, gently moving those things out of my nervous system, out of my body, out of my vortex that has been keeping me imprisoned, has been keeping me bound to the wounds of the child through warfare. Just calling that in right now, real time. So just taking a moment right now, anybody that's feeling this energy, wherever you are, if you're in a space of this torrential tornado of energy, let's just call in the energy of alchemy, just calling in our ancestors, the benevolent guides of light and love who surround us now. And as we are all working out these tornadoes of energy, of expressions, anywhere in our field, whether it's in the physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, financial fields, any of these pillars of wellness, just seeing it being harmonized now, just calling in the energy of harmony and balance, going into that center point. It's like you're in the middle of the tornado, being the witness, just knowing that this energy is needed to move, but to be grounded in the eye, right? The first eye of the tornado field, being in center point and allowing this Taurus field to come out and emit a new frequency based on unconditional love, on harmonic health, on a new codex system of harmony and peace and reverence for life. Bringing in that in now, seeing, feeling, and just alchemizing any war codes with as within, as without. Anywhere we war with ourselves, our hemispheres of the mind, right? Parts of the world is warring, which is parts of our mind, just bridging that gap in the corpus callosum, just the middle point, just seeing that rainbow bridge harmonized, seeing a rainbow, just seeing the energy moving, that current. Taking a deep breath in and out through the nose. Yeah, I'm feeling that I'm hearing thunder, but some people may in this world may be experiencing it as missiles, as you know, war tools, but it doesn't have to be that way. So commanding in the peace and the harmony. Again, this is something that might be uncomfortable, is stepping into your power, because Mars rules power. It's the way of the peaceful warrior. So commanding in this energy now, I command this energy in now, I command this energy in now, unapologetically from the heart, from the mind, ruling this ship from the heart space, invoking in that toroidal field of unconditional love for everyone who watches this channel. For anyone who doesn't watch this channel, it is set the intention for this grid to be activated now on all points of the new ley lines of this planet now, as we have set the intention as a human stage, as humanity, to invite in these new codes of unconditional love and beautiful peace and harmonizing our own fields. We do it from within. We become the change. And we are activating that right now, right now, right now. Through the mental spheres, connected to our heart spheres, connected to one another. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. Thank you for connecting to this channel. Thank you for connecting to this current of energy that wanted to be shared and emitted in this now time moment. We are the change we've been waiting for. We are the ones that are changing it right now. It's an inward job, and then it's a projection out. So thank you all for receiving these healing codes that you set up for yourself through me. I'm just an activator. I'm just a transmitter. But you are the one harnessing the energy. You are the one doing the work. And I'm so grateful to be doing this work with you. We've got this, humanity. We've got this. Love abounds. Love is the center point in all things, in all ways, in all timelines, in all dimensions. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. Much love to you, family. Thank you for being here on this journey with me. Blessings. Actually, fortuitous energy your way. Sent now. Love you.